Hello and welcome to the Go There Do That podcast. My name is Ethan, and of course we're here with Heather, and we are going to talk about Lake Whitney State Park in Texas today.
Yeah. So Lake Whitney is in Whitney, Texas. It is a pretty good location as far as like a state park goes because it's pretty centrally located in a sense of like two major cities, you know. So it's only like an hour and a half away from like DFW. It's about a 2-hour trip for us, 2.5-hour trip for us in Austin. And then Houston is about 3.5 hours. So not totally out of the question for those kind of like major metropolises. So I think it is kind of a popular park, especially for people like who live in the DFW area. They have quite a few camping accommodations. As far as like campsites, they don't have like cabins. I think they have a couple of group shelters, but they have full hookups, electric water hookups, and then like water only. We've stayed at the Lakeview campground and the Bluebird campground, and I did like the Bluebird campground. That's where we stayed, and you could like walk down to the lake from our campsite, and there was like bluebonnets all over.
Not all the time. Lake. They aren't there all the time.
Yes,
but
I know. But you can get down to the lake in
the
site
springtime.
94.
Okay.
In Bluebird. That's what I was getting at.
Okay.
And then as far as like the vibes of Lake Whitney, it is called Lake Whitney, so there is a lake there, and that's probably the biggest thing to do there. So if you're going there for like water activities or fishing, it's perfect for that. The lake is swimmable. You can swim in it and not be totally icked out, as far as I can remember.
Be totally what?
Icked out?
As in?
Actually, I don't know. I don't think I've gotten in the lake at Lake Whitney. But maybe further away from shore. Like if you took a boat out and then hopped in, it might be okay. But there's a lake there for activities. And then, yeah, so in the springtime, it is really beautiful to visit Lake Whitney because the wildflowers are blooming, and it is stupid pretty because it's like kind of a like plains type area. Yeah, like the drive there is pretty once you kind of get off the interstate, and then when you're getting into it, the wildflowers are beautiful. I've never seen like blue bonnets just like growing on like a lake shore, and that was like beautiful, really cool to see. There is very little hiking in Lake Whitney. There's like 2 trails, but like I said, if you're there, you're probably there to enjoy the lake, so nothing wrong with that. Not every state park is going to have everything, but it definitely still has, you know, enough to draw you in and make you want to visit. There is like good birding there if you're a birder. We've actually witnessed a heron migration while we were there in September.
Yep, in September of 2020 we saw a heron migration, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We stumbled upon it. We didn't really plan it out. It just happened, but
yeah,
it was really cool.
So yeah, good stuff to see there. That's pretty much all I have as far as like informational goes. So now we'll talk a little bit about our actual experiences there and not just kind of vibe summaries. So
what about them? What about our experiences there? What did we do? Because we didn't have a boat both times.
That's true.
So you say if you like boats, be good to go to Lake Whitney, but we don't have those.
Yeah.
So you can go anyway, apparently, and enjoy Lake Whitney.
That's true. I would say I enjoyed it more the second time we visited than the first time.
Why?
But I think it had to do with the time of year and my own mentality, you know? So the first time we visited was in September. I was pretty stressed out.
Of 2020.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, sorry. of 2020. So, yeah.
School.
Pretty stressed out.
School,
and
teaching, life. And
yeah.
so that can affect how you visit a place, you're saying?
Absolutely.
So go in, assuming you have a fresh state of mind.
Yeah.
Lake Whitney is very beautiful.
It is, because then when we visited again, and it was like springtime and there were wildflowers, I literally was like, is this the same place? Like, I was not fully convinced until we like went to the bathrooms, and I remembered like the very specific like trail, like kind of little footpath trail. Like, you have to like walk to get to the bathrooms. They're not like just at the camping loops. Like, it's a little bit of a trek. And then I could remember like doing that the first time we were there, and I was like, this is the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is fun. But yeah, it's just pretty calm, pretty chill. It's deep in on its own, so you really only hear boats or lake activity.
That's true. Yeah. Not like traffic or city sounds.
Well, you have some places like Bastrop where it is next
right off
to
the highway.
Yeah. Highway, interstate. Highway.
Interstate. I mean, same thing.
Well, a big road is near Bastrop State Park, and it makes things a little loud as you're just going through. But this one is
pretty off
all lake
by itself. Yeah.
So it's pretty good. Yeah. Fishing. Yeah, lake stuff. But we walked along trails and just along the beach, and that's enough for us, I guess.
Yeah, it's a really good place for just like hanging out. I think the second time we went, it was our first trip in a while. We hadn't been camping. We went camping at the end of March of this year, 2024, and we hadn't been camping, my goodness, since like we went to Big Bend in November of the 2023. So
that's not terrible.
It'd been a while, I know, but it was a good like kind of getting back into the groove of that, because it was pretty chill. Like, we didn't do a whole lot other than just like take in the views at the lake and just kind of enjoy the scenery and the beauty of it. Like, we weren't trying to go on miles and miles of trails and like do anything really crazy. So it's really perfect for that, for just like getting away and enjoying something pretty.
So when you go to a state park that has a lot to do, like a lot of trails and miles of everything, and you go there probably for that purpose,
right?
Of going on all the miles of stuff. But if, say you're like, we drove 2.5 hours to go to a lake where we didn't have a boat or anything, and there was really not much to do except for enjoy the sounds of the lake. And sometimes that's good to go to a place where you don't have much to do.
Yep.
And that takes the pressure off of doing everything else.
Yes. Yep.
So I feel like I think lake state parks, it's all about the lake.
Right.
Like, well, I don't have a boat, so what do I do?
You don't need the other things,
But Inks Lake, when I was very young, this is another state park with a lake that relates to Lake Whitney. When we first went there with my family, that was like the thing. It's like, oh, well, we don't have a boat, so
this is boring.
And so we went somewhere else.
Oh, really? You left?
Yeah, we went into the state park and then on a vacation, and we were like, this ain't it. And then we went to another place.
Interesting. Yeah.
That was back when you could drive into state parks and just say, is there
right?
And they were
you didn't have to book months in advance.
Which one do you want?
Yeah.
So it was a little more
lax.
If you didn't like a state park, you could just go somewhere else. But yeah, lakes, there is something to do. It's just
you gotta have the thing,
yeah,
to do it, yeah.
But I think having certain expectations of a place, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. So you can't really expect much from, even if it's like, well, it's beautiful there, and then it rains the whole time,
right,
or something, or But we went and we're like, oh my gosh, it's bluebonnet season. We didn't know that there would be.
That was a treat.
They would be so close, to the shore.
Yep.
So it's always fun. It's a new person. At one time of year, there could be a heron migration, and one time of year there's nice
I'll
flowers.
let you talk more about like the first time we were there, because I don't remember it as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I poured through all the footage.
Yeah, that's true.
For it, and I just remember simply walking around, and it does give you the opportunity to kind of slow down. Oh, well, there's 2 trails here.
Right.
So what if we did
Take your time.
Mm-hmm. We went on them more than once.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. Like we saw one trail in the middle of the day, and then we went back in the morning, and it was different. So things like the light, it does create a totally different atmosphere.
Yeah.
Whenever you're seeing something, well, literally in a new light.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
But it goes, I mean, I don't know if you're just, it's not really out of boredom either. It's like we're doing this to kind of be surprised. Because if your life is so routine, you know what to expect. And so what if you just try randomly, and we weren't even thinking of doing this on purpose, like we didn't plan for to see anything, a migration or the bluebonnets. Those are the extra surprises. The most important thing is actually doing it and not canceling, and
right,
because we've done that before too. We were like, it's just not go this time. And
yeah. Oh, I'm pretty sure I booked Lake Whitney a couple of times in between. Like we've been twice, but it was like one of the first places we went to when we started camping, and then we hadn't been back until like this year, so like 4 years, you know, without visiting back. But I definitely had like booked it a couple of more times because it's like not that far for us. But then I would just like cancel it because I was like, it's not that, you know, I didn't remember it as being like that special, but a lot of that was like me. And then we went back and I was like, what the heck? Like, what is this place? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll cancel again.
You're not supposed
I wouldn't cancel on Lake Whitney again.
If you had that's the thing. That's the thing about going and planning something. You had the motivation when you planned it, but then the doing it, the action of following through with your plan, that's the hard part. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go. And it helps too to pay money to book something too, and that's a little more incentive to like, well, I don't want to waste.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's hard to be committed to something extra, additional to your life, which is...
Yeah, I think I'm much more purposeful about when I book stuff. Like, we don't even have I don't have anything booked right now, and like normally I would, but it's more out of like because things fill up so fast, so I would literally just like book whatever I could, because it's like, yeah, they just like, it's hard to get reservations nowadays.
In 2020 or nowadays? You said nowadays.
Nowadays, I'm more purposeful. Okay. Like, I used to just like, I would book way more than we would go. At the beginning, we would go anyways, but I like kept up that momentum and was like still booking like twice a month at least. But then it's like at that point in our lives, it was like less, like you don't need to be going and going and going. Like you can chill out a little bit. But I was still booking like we were gonna go every single weekend.
And it's like, well, maybe
we will. I don't want to. I think it comes from a place of like, well, I don't want to not have the opportunity to if I want to. But then I also want to be able to not go if I don't feel like it's the best thing for me. Yeah. But it usually is the best thing for me.
Yeah, we've gotten better at not canceling. It's just, you know. So, anything else? What do we think of? Just beautiful. If you haven't seen the video, Perspectives, episode 6, that's the heron migration that we're talking about. We just had some photos of the bluebonnets posted at one point, but we haven't made a video or anything about that time next trip. But yeah, we're going through it all. That's so. Yeah, anything else you can think of with Lake Whitney?
I guess not. I guess Perspectives does a good job of like capturing the essence of it.
Yes, and I am not very fluent with words. I can't really paint a picture for listeners of the podcast. Like, what is Lake Whitney like?
Mhm.
If you've seen a heron, it's a white. Well, there's blue herons and there's
Mhm.
great heron. There's all kinds of different types, but these are white.
Mhm.
And there was normally you only see one of them alone. They have
Mhm.
big long necks, and when they like stick their neck out, they look kind of goofy, like a little fishing pole bird.
Mhm.
But yeah, there was like hundreds of them.
Mhm. All flying together.
And at sunset, and they were flying past the sun, and I guess Lake Whitney created this sort of haze in the atmosphere, so the sun never went beyond the horizon. It just turned like orange and then a deep red,
and then it like disappears.
and then it disappeared. It didn't actually go behind the horizon. Same with the sunrise too. So you see all these herons flying in front of this. It looks like a perfect little circle in the sky, and so all these big white birds just flying, hundreds of them, over this lake. And
it was happening at sunset and sunrise.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was. So it's like they went to sleep around the lake at night, and then in the morning they took off. And it was cool.
Yeah, a very cool thing to have witnessed. Yeah.
So if that, I hope that helps you imagine what it was like. And then bluebonnets. Bluebonnets. They were next to a lake. We haven't seen that very often, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was like a different types of
and
blue.
They had other, there was other wildflowers too. I don't know what they're all called, but like red ones, yellow ones, purple ones.
I believe there are some called Indian paintbrushes.
Yes.
That are red.
Yes.
And blue bonnets, and so those are cool all along this lake. I would recommend checking it out sometime if you're into that sort of thing. But that's, yeah. And if you want a visual of it, watch a video. If you want to read a blog about it, we can do that too. Go there, do that, LLC.com, and check out our stuff. We've been working pretty hard on this to just keep it going and tell the story of how it's good to see state parks. Like Whitney's one of them.
It is. Yep.
So
it's a part of the story.
Anyways,
Maybe it could be a part of yours. It's a part of our story. Yeah.
Say that again.
It's a part of our story, so maybe it can be a part of yours.
And there you have it. Thanks for listening, guys. We will see you next time, and go there, do that.